Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Circle podcast. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and with me now is Pooya. How you doing, Pooya?
I'm doing really well, Taran. It's a change of scenery, talking a different show with you, but I'm always excited to break down things with you and laugh and just have a good conversation. So we're here. I would rate you number one if I could, but I'm not rating this week because I'm new.
Yeah. I'm very, very excited to be talking with you about the Circle. You're one of my favorite people to talk to, so thank you for coming on, Pooya.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, we're here to talk about episode 7 of The Circle US on Netflix, and in the previous episode, we lost Mercedes.
Yep.
Had to say goodbye. I did feel the loss a little bit in this episode. I missed her.
Same. She definitely left a big void, in my opinion, that was not really filled.
Yeah.
Even though we got 2 new people, I felt that absence. I did.
They're both too nice.
Yeah, we need the claws to come out at some point.
But yes, we have added 2 more people in this episode. They are Sean and Bill. Sean is a 25-year-old plus-size fashion social media manager. Yes. And she says that people treat fat people like crap, so she's playing as someone that's thin.
Yes, her friend Colleen, we learned. An all-American Barbie doll, according to her. My first impression on Sean was, okay, I'm intrigued. Let's see what you're going to bring to the table. I'm not sure how I feel about the catfish persona that she has selected. I think I would have preferred if she went in as herself, as an OG. But this is the hand we're dealt. This is what we're going to take in as a viewing experience. And we'll see how this journey fares for her.
Yes, we'll see how this goes. Honestly, if I'm just looking at her, I think she'd have more success as herself. In a cast where literally everyone is in a relationship but pretending not to be and flirting with everyone that they can. Being somebody like that, if she just went in and said, yeah, I'm in a relationship and here's the real me, I feel like that would just be refreshing to these people at this point. They don't have to do the whole flirting thing.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's one of those situations where in a room full of singles, if you're the one person that's spoken for and isn't looking to make ways with anybody, you almost become a confidant because everyone's going to come to you and be like, hey, so I've been getting my flirt on with Sammy and I'm not sure how to approach that. What do you think? Has she said anything to you? You kind of become like this trust where people can come and deposit their thoughts. Whereas if you're coming in single and ready to mingle, you're in a position where you might be even taken a little bit more like at a distance because well, I don't know who she likes. Is she flirting with the same people I'm flirting with? I don't know. So I could definitely see it working in your benefit, especially in this crop, in this cast, being taken. Because I think no one's taken, and it's just incredible that no one is.
I think it might be dependent on when you join the game. I'm assuming she's aware of how long they've been playing at this point, what her position is in terms of how far along, how many other people have been added. But I think if you are a relatively late addition, then honestly, at that point, even if you are single, maybe just say that you aren't, because at that point, most of the flirty people that want to get into a relationship probably already have gotten into a relationship, and you coming in is probably going to be threatening to other people. If you are catfishing as somebody very attractive and very single and very flirty, then we're going to see people like Shuby, who is not even in the flirtation thing, but is wary of it. We're going to see people like Sammy, people like maybe even Miranda. If you start getting in on Joey, whoa, hold on. That, I think that you're threatening in that way. And I think there is an advantage to not presenting that kind of threat.
Yeah, you're going to cause a lot of ripples coming in a situation like that. We've kind of seen a little bit of this with Adam, who came in and just got his flirt on later in the game than everyone else. And everyone's kind of already either established how they feel about these things or have done what you mentioned, the pairing. Get a little bit of this person is my flirt man, this person is mine. When you come in as a bit of a wild card, it is a difficult position to play out of, especially because you're coming in wanting to give a first impression that is about you and who you are and what you're bringing into the game, what you're bringing into the circle. And now you're kind of going to be taken a little bit at a distance because of the fact that you pose this threat.
Yeah, and obviously there's no way for them to know this at this point, but I feel like at this point in the game, these players are starving for like a genuine interaction that's not just like this fake flirty nonsense.
Yeah, they've had enough of that. You know, it's like we've had enough appetizers. Let's get an entree going, maybe a dessert. It's just the samey's not going to work out. I think it would have been better. But like you said, they might not really, they don't know what's going on. They don't know what the makeup of the house is, or the platform is. But yeah, just a note for anyone in the future, you'll fare better if you go in Taken, I think.
Yeah. So she's going to choose a photo. She chooses a photo. I was not a huge fan of this photo that she chose. We've talked about this before, that you want to go for something that feels unprofessional, that feels like it was taken by like an iPhone 3, like like maybe a little bit of out of focus, a little fuzzy, not super dressed up, not very filtered. The more real you can make it, the more real people will feel you are. And this picture to me was just like one of the more glamorous sort of kind of glitzy glam photo that she had. And it just screams fake to me.
Yeah, I think you're going glam. It looks shiny. You're dressed up really well. None of this play, especially if you want to be what you're saying, like an all-American. You want to be sexy, but you also want to be approachable. I think the last thing that is approachable is someone who's dressed to the nines. When you look at yourself and you're like, well, I'm sitting here in a bathrobe in my underwear. Then it's kind of like a little bit of a, oh, this person's too cool for me. I can't approach. So it's like she went from one extreme to she's like, oh, they treat, fat people like crap, versus now I'm a model looking, glammed up, dolled up person. It's like, well, that's the opposite end of the spectrum. Maybe they don't, what you're saying, treat you like crap necessarily, but they're also maybe not going to treat you at all because they're a little scared of you. They're a little intimidated by you. So it's like from one extreme to the other, not good.
Yes. And something Amon mentioned when we talked about episode 5 was that all these like attractive people, or people pretending to be attractive people, they always put in their bio like, and I also love pizza or tacos or whatever. And sure enough, Amon called this one. Sean says, obsessed with breakfast food because I am in fact relatable.
Yeah, it's definitely a trope you also do see on dating apps, where it's like, I love, like it used to be the walks on the beach thing, then it became like chilling on Netflix, and now it's like, what's the latest thing? Is it tacos? Breakfast food is one, bacon is another one. They always try and put something in there to be like, I'm like everybody else, even though I don't look like I might be consuming it.
You know what? It's Gilmore Girls.
It's Gilmore Girls.
It's Gilmore Girls. They're like these beautiful women who are like, yeah, I eat junk food all the time because I'm so relatable.
I'm just an average person living my life, but I look amazing.
Maybe that's where it started. So that was Sean. And again, unbelievably, another person in a relationship pretending to be single. That's what, like the 5th one? Like,
yeah,
close to that, right? That's insane to me. We also are going to see Bill, who says he is the best looking average white dude you know.
Yeah, definitely relatable. Although I will say, Bill comes in and my immediate reaction is, oh, we got a more improved version of Adam. It's kind of like an Adam 2.0 almost.
He looked exactly like Adam, and when he sees Adam, he's like, this guy looks like me.
Yeah.
You have to imagine that one of these people is fake if you're in that circle.
Right. So why did, like, everyone else kind of has this distinct difference within them, and then these two kind of look like they could be long lost brothers. So that's got to get someone's wheels turning. If someone's a investigator, they'll probably connect the dots or try and think what's going on there. But off the first impression with Bill, I liked him. Yeah. I liked him. I thought he was, he seems like someone that is definitely approachable. I think the pictures that he selected were a good different variants of pictures. Like you've mentioned, you want the iPhone 3. I think the first picture is probably the worst quality picture of the 3 selected. So it's good. It's unassuming. It's approachable.
I agree. I think I like Bill. He seems to come off well. He seems like the anti-Adam,
Yeah.
even though he looks the same. Where he's like posting sexy pictures is kind of douchey.
Hmm.
Don't try too hard. Don't post fake positive messages when you don't really mean it. Like I don't expect Bill to waltz in being like, "All right, ladies, arouse me."
Oh my God. Yeah, I was watching episode 5. I was like, I'm kind of glad that I don't have to talk about this because someone took the word arouse and turned it into what like that moist category of like words people don't like. I think arouse is officially on that list now because
Mm.
not only was it used awfully, but like it just sounded bad. So, yeah, maybe not go with that. I think Bill is going to end up being what Alex wanted Adam to be coming
Yeah.
in,
And
right?
you immediately start to see the jealousy in Adam slash
Mm.
Alex with Bill, and it's so funny to me too because the whole point with Alex and Adam was that he was like, this is a Greek god. He is the most attractive person. I'm gonna drop this photo, and it's just gonna rain on me. And meanwhile, Bill, who looks exactly like Adam, is like, yeah, I'm your average white dude. I mean, like, I'm the best looking average white dude that you're gonna see, but like, I'm still an average white dude. Like, he's not like feeling hot.
Hmm.
Like, this is the real thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Keeping it humble. Honestly, that's the thing is like Bill
mhm,
is keeping it humble, whereas Adam, and I've been thinking about this a lot, with regards to people who come in as a catfish. I think if you're coming in as a catfish of someone or someone that you can relate to and like you've had a similar figure in your life that you can emulate, you're
mhm.
going to be in a good spot. If you're coming in and your move is, oh, I'm going to be me, but I'm going to take another person and have that be my frame, my photo. Kind of like what Mercedes did. We saw that it could go well, it could go bad. There's going to be moments. But I think the problem with Adam slash Alex is that Alex came in saying, I'm going to be Adam. He's a sexy guy, but it's all going to be my personality. And I think he's lost that almost immediately. Once he started flirting, I think he's like, okay, I gotta be Adam. Adam's this hunk of meat that's gonna just be sliding in the DMs and throwing out all the words, making you swoon. And that's not necessarily happening. But now he's just trapped himself in this position where he has to be that person. And I think that's where you go wrong. When you lose yourself and you're trying to, because now you're not trying to be yourself in another frame. You're trying to create a whole new person. And you've boxed yourself into being a douchey dude, which is not going to be good for you.
So I was trying to talk to Aman and Rob about this. I feel like I got varying levels of agreement here, but my theory here, my read on Alex slash Adam, and I feel like having you here is helping me put this more into perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Is that this is like an R slash nice guys version of a hot person, right?
Yeah, yeah. Just missing a fedora. That's all you're missing is a fedora, and this is an R slash nice guy. Definitely. It almost to me also kind of feels like Alex is vicariously living through Adam. He's like, now that I'm hot, I can just flirt, 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 and
Yes.
it's kind of like it's like the hall pass weekend. It's like my wife
Yes.
said I could go on the show, so now I'm gonna hit on all the women. I still love Gina though. Gina's my number one, but let me see how well I could do in an alternative universe.
We are 100% on the same page here.
Perfect. Okay, good. Because I felt very strongly about this. I was like, I don't like him, but why? And I think it's because of the person he's created and is slowly becoming. And every time he steps out of it and starts being himself, I'm like, oh no, I don't mind you. I don't mind you. But I have a strong negative reaction to when he's Adam.
Yeah. All right. So we have Circle Trivia Night.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this was a fun thing to do here. A nice way to introduce the new players is to have it be like, all right, it's trivia night. You're gonna be split into two teams, and then like, oh, who's gonna pick? The influencers are gonna pick the team captains are two random people. What the?
Yeah. What? Who the falafel are Sean and Bill? Adam was not happy to see this. Everyone else was surprised. I live for these reaction moments. I really do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get some reactions to getting the old players getting to know Sean and Bill getting to know the players. Sean mentions that Adam feels like a real person.
Yeah.
Bad read.
Yeah. Yeah. Not good.
We'll
Not
see how
good at
long that
all.
lasts when he talks. Bill fully points out immediately, this guy looks like me. I was like, yes, thank you, Bill.
Yeah. We're not alone. Immediately recognizing that this is someone who looks very similar to me. And I think that's what lends into him thinking it's a genuine person. Because, like, if I see someone that looks like me, I'm like, we might be the same person. You know, you kind of get that vibe. But rest assured, I'm pretty sure once they start talking a little bit, it's going to go away.
So Bill and Sean are going to pick teams. And I mistakenly wrote Ben a couple times in here. So Sean is going to go first. She chooses Sammy. Then Bill goes and chooses Shuby, who is a popular pick because he looks smart from his photos.
Yeah. So, Taran, I live in Canada. You live in the States.
Yes.
I have a question for you because this kind of raised up as I was watching all this. How lucrative is UCLA?
I'm the wrong person to ask.
Like, because it doesn't really, come up in conversation. It's not like an Ivy League thing, but everyone on the show that sees the UCLA, oh my God, they're so intimidated by it. And I gotta imagine it's not really the case. It's not a Yale, it's not a Princeton, it's not a Harvard. So I was just curious. I'm like, is it really good and I'm stupid, or is it just okay, but everyone else is impressed because no one else has completed?
I think we need to get Lita on the podcast. She's much more on top of what school you went to and what that means for your level of value to society.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's for me, I could see Yale or Harvard, and I just don't care. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't tell me anything about you other than you're good at school, which means nothing to me. So I don't know.
Okay.
But I guess if you're good at school, maybe you'll be good at trivia. That was kind of proved wrong as well.
Yeah, trivia could be anything. I don't know why a university degree is going to give you any edge. It could be about literally anything, and it's kind of a Slumdog Millionaire situation where you might have like come across it at some point in your life, and it'll prove useful.
There you go. So Sean is then going to pick Adam, and then Bill goes with Chris. Then Sean rounds out the team with Miranda, and Bill chooses Rebecca over Joey, leaving Joey unchosen. And Joey then gets to pick his team. I was kind of surprised that he went with Sean's team, with Sammy, Adam, and Miranda, instead of Shuby, Chris, and Rebecca.
Me too. I genuinely thought he was going to go with Bill. And then the only thing I could draw on was in the moment, he's like, oh, you had your choice between me and Rebecca, and you left me. I'm going to go to the other team. So that could have been it.
I mean, he chose correctly. So, so first category is sports, and Adam's like, no me. And Sean gives it to Adam. And then Bill decides to pick himself for this question. Luckily, though, for Adam, he had a book of sports things that saved him from this question.
Yeah, so because the only thing, so in this picture, it's a picture of a baseball player in the middle of a game. And you can vaguely see the team logo on the side. And that's kind of the only clue you had. And what I can only imagine, I don't know what kind of book Adam had that had this in it, but he guesses it correctly, and Bill guesses it correctly. It was the Houston Astros, baby.
Yeah, and you know what? I know very little about sports, but I actually would have got this one. If I saw an H and an A, I would have gone Houston Astros.
Yeah, same. I have no knowledge of baseball at all, but
yeah, me neither.
Just because of I think this year they were in the wow, what was it called? What's the World final Series? Stage? World Series. They were in the World Series. There we go.
There you go.
Thank you.
See, we complement each other. You knew that they were in the World Series, and I knew it was called the World Series. So between the two of us, we're basically experts.
Amazingly so. Yeah.
Next up was film. The category was film, and Rebecca and Miranda are going to face off. And it was one of those sort of like say what you see puzzles. And the answer was Sex and the City.
Yes.
Which I mean, I think, yes, they made a movie, but it was mostly a TV show.
It was a TV show for what, like 6, 7 seasons, and then they made 2 movies that didn't do that well. So I was
Yeah,
surprised that I honestly think it's because of the emojis. They wanted to use those emojis, and
I
that's
guess.
why they picked it.
But why not just call it the television round or the television and film round? Why
Yeah.
call it the film round if you're going to name a popular TV show? It bugged me.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see why that would bother you at least a little bit. But can we talk about who got this right and who got this wrong?
Yeah, sure.
So Miranda gets it, says Sex in the City.
Immediately.
And then Rebecca says, first of all, I did not even think of slapping skins as a phrase. I've learned what that means. So, take that down. The emojis gave him slapping skins, and that's how he got to Sex in the City. But he said Sex in the City. So it sounds the exact same. This is voice activated. So unless he would have had to specify no, in, not and, what I think he should have gotten the point.
Yeah, they were real sticklers on this one.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I did not, like, I'm aware of the show. I never really watched. I think I maybe started the first episode and then stopped. So I'm not an expert on the show at all. But I think I've always been like, it's always one of those things where like, is it Sex in the City or and the City? I always forget. And so when I was writing this down in my notes, I was like, wait, is it in or and? And then it was relevant because Rebecca says Sex in the City. And I was like, I don't even know which one he said. But then they put it in, and I was like, oh, I guess it's in. And then they're like, no, it's wrong. I was like,
So like,
really threw me for a loop.
yeah, was it a test? Like they wrote in and they're like, okay, if Rebecca says send, it's official, and she got it wrong. Were they trying to trick her? I don't know. And the only reason I know that it's and is because I've seen it abbreviated as SATC before. So that's that's the only way I know that specifically. But I think it's kind of like Family Feud. If it was close enough, give them the point. I mean, they needed it at the end too, so I just give them the point.
All right. So next up was Landmarks. And Shuby was even like, all right, this is me. And Bill says, go for it, Shuby. Sammy is saying, no, not me. And then Sammy gets chosen. And I got Shuby. Oof. What are you doing? Right away, Liberty Bell, Philly. Then you see Rocky, Philly. There's those two things. I didn't know the third thing, but and granted, I've been to Philly. I live in the Northeast, so I had that advantage. But come on.
Yeah, I mean, I watched National Treasure, so I knew it was Philly instantly. I was like, this is it. This is Philly. It's the Liberty Bell. Done. I think Shuby overthought it because he's like, oh, there's a replica in DC, and then the boxing thing is Boston. I'm like, okay. So he goes with Boston. But if you know that there's a replica in DC and that there's no replica in Boston, why are you locking in Boston? He just definitely overplayed it. I think he got like in his own head with it.
I think like there are a lot of like historical things in Boston, so I can maybe see why he might think we have a Liberty Bell. The boxing thing, honestly, I don't. Is there a lot of boxing in Boston? That's not something I'm aware of.
I genuinely did not even think of how that would link. I didn't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm not really big into boxing, but I mean, you can tell that's Rocky Balboa. I feel
like if you asked me like, hey, Taran, let's go see a boxing match here in Boston, I would have no idea where to go. I genuinely don't even know if there are any like actual mainstream boxing. I don't even know if those exist. I'm not a boxing person,
like,
clearly.
Is it because he thought of, he misheard it in his head and he's like, the Boston Red boxing? Like, could that have been the link? Because I can't see any other link there.
The Boston Red Box. It's actually just a box, but don't open it.
Don't open it. You
don't want to know what's inside.
Yeah.
So Shuby guesses box. Sammy gets it because of Rocky. So she's good. Shuby though, in Shuby you can tell Shuby is like I am, where like you get it wrong and oh no, and it's just haunting him for the rest of the day. Like, oh, I should have known that. I look stupid. Instantly,
yeah, because I think he instantly, once he saw Phil, he's like, oh, all the dots connected. And you can tell, like, he probably felt, oh, I got picked first because I'm the smart one. I gotcha. They saw my UCLA robes. They know what's up. I got this. And then he stumbled. So it's fine. Shuby, don't beat yourself up about it. It's all right. I mean, he obviously still talks about it as he's going to sleep. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So final one, music round. It's Joey versus Chris. And the question is, which Jonas brother is missing? And this was hilarious because it's Joey and Chris.
Yeah.
And Joey's like, why would they give me a question for 8-year-olds? I don't know the Jonas brothers.
I would have related with Joey a lot.
Yeah.
If not for the simple fact that Liana and I talked about the Jonas Brothers on the Masked Singer podcast this season, and I learned who they were through that. So I was like, it's Kevin. What? Look at me having my moment. I felt good about it, but totally understood what Joey was feeling. But even though that line was iconic, I think the star of this moment was Chris looking at it and being like, Clayton?
Well, I've talked before. Chris is just like an old soul. Like he is about like Frank Sinatra and like people from way far back. He is not about the Jonas Brothers, and he even says these are after my time. These are not. I do not know.
Yeah, I love that it was initially Clayton, and then he's like, you know what, Steve? He looks like that silhouette looks like a Steve right there. What if it's Steve? That'd be good.
Could you imagine if it just actually turned out to be Steve for some reason?
Mouth on the fly. I don't even know how Chris would have reacted if Chris got it right.
This would have been funnier to me if I knew it wasn't Steve, but for all I knew it was. So
yeah,
it's funnier in retrospect. And then meanwhile Joey has just been like trying to manifest the answer in his head. He's just like, put Kevin, if it's Joe, I'm done. If it's Joe, I'm done. And it's like the answer is Kevin. Oh, I knew it.
Flinging his hat around. He's so passionate about the most mundane things. It's incredible.
Oh boy. So they win a video from home. They get some video messages. But Sean does not get one. She hasn't been there long enough.
Yeah.
So how it works in the UK version is that because it's being filmed live, all of the people that join late have been sequestered individually for the entirety of the game's runtime. So they have been away from their families for as long as the game has been running.
Yeah.
I guess it's theoretically possible, but that's not how it works in for the US version, because it's all filmed at once and it's not airing live, and so there's no need to sequester them. That said, I can't imagine that they're like flying people out to the UK like, oh, now it's time for you to join, fly over. Like they've got to be there and ready. Maybe not like super sequestered, so maybe they had a chance to talk to their family as they waited, but they've still been away from their family, right? Like
yeah, like they're not getting like choppered in the day of, like, okay, land them on the jacuzzi, like they'll come in. No, they're definitely they flew to England. They all flew to England about the same time, I imagine. I guess like the only thing there is what you alluded to, is that they probably have their phone privileges and they can just hang out and talk to their families. And you got to imagine, if they have that power, they're in a foreign country and they're about to go on this thing and they don't know how long they're going to be in there. They're probably keeping in touch, but I think still give them a message. They still won the thing. Like, let them it's like, oh, hey, I haven't talked to you in a long time. They know they've talked to each other yesterday. It's still cute.
Yeah, it still helps us like get to know this new person that we know nothing of.
That was a miss, because what was the benefit to Sean winning?
Well, they did have a funny line. Like, she's been here a minute, so she doesn't get one.
Yeah,
it was kind of funny.
We'll take it.
Miranda has her friends send her a message. Adam has his wife send him a message, and then we get one from Joey's mom.
His ma.
And she says, "You are the most wonderful, beautiful boy." It's like, this is where Joey came from.
Yeah.
100%.
1000%. And I just want to say this to those of you who have had Joey as your Man Crush Mondays, with his baseball cap turned around and from the side angle, he was kind of looking like Brandon Hance. So sorry to ruin him for y'all. but I kind of saw that similarity there. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I definitely got that in the moment. But yeah, this is Joey. This is the mama's boy Joey, and we see the roots, and he feels all that. He says, "This might be the best gift I've
Yeah.
had in my life."
That might be the best gift I have ever had in my entire life. Rarely am I speechless.
I think we found someone more hyperbolic than Colin Stone. Putting that out there. Yeah. Were these videos, like, they felt way too short, I feel like. You know, for all this work, it kind of played like a Vine to me. It wasn't long enough.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, I think even the people that have been there from the start have only been there a couple days. So
That's also true. Yeah. I thought this reward was way too early.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What are you gonna do? But Joey cries because he saw his mom, and then we get a message from Sammy's aunt, and she explains the situation that her mom died when she was young, and her aunt raised her, which is a very touching story. And so she's going to end up sharing that later with some other people. So now it's time, finally, to get to know these new people. We're gonna pick through their profiles. Joey says, "All right, let's start judging people without knowing them, because that's what I learned we do."
He should take over as the narrator next season.
Yeah. Joey opens Sean's profile. Oh wow.
Joey he oscillates between like just a mama's boy and just the thirstiest man in the world. Just between these two is where he lives. And every time he opens a new female profile, he has this reaction that just can't be explained. You just have to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shubi sees that she's a social media manager. Uh-oh, I don't like social media.
Stop, Shubi.
That makes me
stop.
nervous.
Yeah. It's like, we know you like it now. We saw how your face lit up when there were 4 likes on your comment. Like, you're in this world now. I think he doesn't want to allow himself to like it. He's like, no, I've been against this.
Yeah, he's like a gambling addict. That's like, I don't like gambling. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
If he actually is in the middle of gambling, though, he's into it.
He's all in. Yeah.
I just watched Uncut Gems. It was a really good movie.
Oh, okay. I get it now.
So Adam goes through Sean's profile, and he is, I feel like, just the r/nice guy. Like, he's like the opposite of Joey, where Joey tries to like over enthusiastically be like, oh, Adam is just like, who wears a bikini with heels? What's going on there? And why is she hanging out of the car? That doesn't seem very safe. Like, just doing that thing where you pick out, like, where it's like, it's a sexy photo, and you're picking out things to intentionally avoid commenting on the sexiness of the photo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just say what you see, and no need. Like, it's very nitpicky. It really is very nitpicky.
Isn't there a thing where like guys online like to be like hot pictures of women posted online? They're like, oh, look how messy her room is.
Yeah, this is because their approach is disarm them. If you disarm them and you say something negative, like, that brings them down to your level. Again, this is not Pooya speaking. This is Pooya r/nice guy looking speaking. This is how they see it.
I've been really hard on Adam/Alex. So I apologize. It's just a lot of material to work with here for the character that you are on the show. I'm sure you're a great person in real life.
Yeah, no, without a shadow of a doubt. Someone amazing can only name their cat Blooper. So I'm just gonna
the cat was adorable.
Yeah, agreed.
So then. I love this. From Joey sees the picture of her in the car. He's like, that looks like an expensive car. Maybe she's well off. Maybe I can marry into money.
Joey is always out for the long haul. That's what he's looking at.
Oh, I love it. And then Chris is loving Sean, but there's just something he can't put his finger on. There's something about her. He's not
Felt
sure.
a little foreshadowy to me.
Yeah.
But I'm into it.
Then they look at Bill, and Chris says to me, he's got a great neck. I wish I had a fat neck like that, thick neck like that.
I've always wondered what a thick neck would feel like. I was like, right, there's like probably some innuendo in there somewhere, but yeah.
Joey says, I like him. I want to give him a hug. I want to tell him to please retie your tie.
That's Joey's way of like being really nice, really enthusiastic, but also but I just can't stop myself from that tie. It really bothers me.
Yeah, he also was a little critical of Adam's shorts in the hot photo as well. He's also a little nitpicky sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. I did like that Adam noticed the Friends fountain because I did not connect that.
Yeah, I saw that picture and so I was just like, this feels really wrong to me. Like it feels very staged and very fake. And then they pointed out the Friends fountain. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah, because it looked like a stock photo until then. I was like, what are they doing?
Like they were posed because they were. But maybe a little bit of a risky pick if somebody doesn't know Friends. If if I had been there and nobody was around to tell me otherwise, I would have been like, this seems really wrong to me.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched all of Friends, and I wouldn't have connected that unless Adam had said it. So I would have been in the position where I was like, I'd have to see that picture over and over until maybe I realized it, or maybe it was mentioned by Bill. But yeah.
Yeah. Sean wants to know what he does. I think he said he's like in the automobile industry or something.
Industry, yeah.
But she said maybe he's a spy.
Like a saboteur.
Yeah. Chris says he'd swipe right.
It's good to know.
See that neck?
Great neck energy. Yeah. I will say, Shuby seeing a pool table and being like, he comes from a frat environment.
Yeah.
Nothing else screams frat. You just saw a pool table and you're like, that's a frat boy right there.
I mean, I it's bias of, your own experience, right? Like, I'm sure he's just, he's, I guess, fresh out of school-ish.
Yeah.
So that's where his mind is at. All right. So then we get a group chat for the people who saw the videos. And this is when Sammy shares the story about her aunt. And again, these moments are really interesting to see because, again, it's like you get to see the inner workings of what actually is happening inside somebody's head as they share something personal like this, especially online when they're doing it and they don't have a physical response to get immediate feedback, where you're just putting it out there and then all of a sudden people stop typing and you're just like, this is painful. I don't like this. And then the responses start running in. Okay. It's just interesting to see. But this is a nice story. I was actually I really thought that Miranda might have like come out and been like, oh, you know what, I was a foster kid, because I feel like they can kind of relate to some degree about that thing, but she didn't. Maybe it was because it was a group chat.
Yeah, I gotta imagine that could come in a conversation next time they talk one-on-one. So I could see it coming out there. Sammy is one of the more interesting people for me, not only because I'm rooting for Sammy, but also Sammy is a complex person who every time she sees something, new profile, it's like, forget this. I don't like this. I don't care. I'm over it. And then immediately 3 seconds later is open to it, is back into it. So she has these quick reactions and then she's okay again. And you could tell it was really hard for her because she just pauses once she's waiting for the responses. And then once they came, she's like, oh my God, okay, good. They were all short answers. Love that. Okay, let's move on. And she was happy to share, but also immediately after she was like, oh, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I think she's the perfect example of someone with like a tough exterior. Like she's got walls up to protect herself. And I think you can sort of see why, because it feels like deep down, she is a very caring, like person that gets drawn in. And again, pure speculation on my part, but maybe she's been hurt before, and so she has these walls to kind of shut things down to prevent her from being drawn in, because she's very vulnerable when that happens. And so her way of sort of like coping with that is to try and keep people at an arm's length, try and find reasons to not get drawn into that sort of thing.
Yeah, you just don't want to feel. And then when you do want to feel, you let up, but then the walls come back up because it does feel like she's worked on this a long time. And she's kind of, it's hard to break in with Sammy, but when you do, this happens. Like that conversation with Shubham has had so much impact for her within this game, because I feel like that was the first time she let it happen, and it felt right. It felt good. But also, I feel like that was her and Shubham, but there's so many other people here that she hasn't had that with, so she's gonna keep that tough exterior until she feels comfortable enough.
Yeah. So this is when I noticed that, because sometimes you can see little fun little Easter eggs in their room. Joey, and because they'll get like letters, like magnetic letters. Joey on his wall has spelled out, "I love Shuby forever."
I didn't even pick that up.
He's got that on his wall.
Oh. Yeah, their bond is very tight. It's a very unlikely duo. I would have never thought this would happen, but it's very strong. They really like each other.
Yeah. So Bill likes Joey.
Mm-hmm.
So as I think a lot of people have come around to, and this is making Adam jealous.
So jealous.
I want to be Bill's homie. That's not fair.
Joey's homie. He wants to be Joey's homie. He just he's very envious, and because Bill walks into the chat, new boy on the block, and immediately kind of gets this like warm response, and Adam's like, why am I not getting that? Because Adam, you came in a single and you started flirting with everybody, and Joey was already doing that, and now you're kind of more of a rival than you are a friend, whereas Bill came in average Joe Schmo, just hanging out, just trying to be best friends, and he's in a better position for that. I do like, because when you think about the Joey that messages Anthony after Anthony's reign as an influencer, Antonio, to be specific.
Yes.
When he does that and he's all angry and like, do you feel like a dick for saying what you did? And then you think about this Joey, who Bill comes in the chat, immediately says, "What's up, Bill? I know you've been here just a little bit of time. Want to welcome you in. If you ever want to talk to someone, I've got you." This is why Joey's doing well, because he looks so authentic for what he does. And you think about that game where he just outright says, "I was the one who said this hashtag about you, Mercedes." Like, you can't, that's all authenticity coming from Joey. Now, anything he does, people are going to like, this is Joey. This is the real and true Joey. So that's why I think he's doing really well for himself.
Yeah, and that's why I think he has risen consistently in the ratings, because and that's generally how it works. I think the people that are genuine, that speak their minds, that aren't trying to manipulate or play other people, tend to rise toward the top as they go, depending on the game that's being played, right? So. Yeah. So yes, we see this jealousy happens, and Adam is like, well, screw Joey, we'll get Bill on our side here, because he's not like Joey being in the gym all the time, and then Bill's like, all right, gotta finish my workout at the gym.
Yeah, and Alex says Adam needs to be a little more friendly, and I think again for me it goes back to, let Adam be Alex, and you're there.
Yeah, and this was another great moment for the narrator when he's like, Adam, I think Adam needs to be more friendly. He's trying to work out how to be friendly, and doesn't realize that it's by saying nice things about, like, you're in complete control over the person that you're pretending to be.
All you. No one else has any stake but you in this.
So he needs to go get a rebound from Rebecca, and so he's gonna be super grossly lovey-dovey with her, and Rebecca's just happy because that means it's good for his ratings.
Rebecca playing Adam like a fiddle. It's incredible to me that through one hangout date, now he's talking to Rebecca as if they've been together for, let's say, weeks. I was about to say months. Let's say weeks. It's been like, what, 48 hours? Like, not even. And to say, babe, and then to hit Rebecca with the hashtag Rebecca and Adam forever. Like, stop getting high on your own supply.
It's
like,
so
you
much.
Bought into this. It's too much. Because I feel like even Rebecca's messages aren't reading like you're on the same like wavelength with this.
Yeah, that's the thing too, where at first Rebecca was all about like, I had the most wonderful time, my heart has melted, and now she's responding like, thanks, that's great.
cool,
Like,
lol.
somebody that is self-aware enough, like you got to recognize that sort of thing. Like, there's been a huge shift in how Rebecca talks to you. That should tell you something. That should tell you something.
Absolutely. Especially, I feel like when you start using words and phrases like that, I want to speak on personal experience. I'm always more aware of what I'm getting in response because I want to make sure that I didn't say something too soon, or I'm on the same level. I'm not overdoing and changing the friendship, the relationship, or anything like that. So it kind of is just he's blinded, it almost seems. And I think it's because he's not reading it as this is what she thinks of me. She's like, this is what she thinks of Alex, Adam. And Adam is, again, Adam's the hunk. Adam's the amazing. He's the number one. So it's just blinders on.
Yeah. You just never, at most, when you're flirting, you test the waters.
Mm-hmm.
You see if the ripples come back to you.
Yeah.
If not, you take your foot out.
Yeah.
you don't jump in.
With 2 feet.
So then we're gonna get Sean and Chris. That she feels like Chris is somebody that she can talk to that will tell her like it is. So she's gonna reach out to Chris. I gotta say, another detail I noticed. I like Chris's shirt here. It's got bananas on it.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was feeling that too. Now Chris is styling. I like Chris' style.
I want a banana shirt.
A banana
for a podcast,
shirt.
Yeah. Okay. I want a banana shirt like Chris's.
I think we can make that happen.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. To be the next accessory. Forget plaid. It's the banana shirt now. Banana shirt season.
They just got to be big enough bananas, because otherwise cause some more on the screen.
You don't want chili pepper bananas.
So, yeah, exactly. Some yellow guys. Chris wants to know Sean's beauty secret. And she's like, shit. She's like, my secret is that it's not me.
I use other people's pictures.
It's not me. And so she ends up just saying, it's makeup,
Yeah. I think Chris does a really good job at a first impression. We kind of talk about people that haven't had success with the first impression, but I feel like everybody that Chris talks to on a one-on-one leaves that conversation feeling relatively good about talking to Chris.
Yeah, there's something about Chris where, like, when Mercedes went to meet Chris in person, like Chris's interactions with people in person, his body language is not like the most, it doesn't, for me, like match his energy as much. Because he has such warm, inviting, like lovely energy. But in person, it was a lot of like saying like, oh, I love you, you're great. Like kind of just like standing there. Like it didn't quite match. But because it's only via social media, they're getting like the pure Chris, like warm, I love you, which I think is genuine from him. It just like sometimes it doesn't always like match the in-person feeling that you get from them. Where again, I think it's sometimes harder to fool people via social media, sometimes easier to. And in this case, I think not being present next to Chris might be an advantage for him, at least in the first impression realm. Because first impressions are hard. You need to get the words right and the body language right. Yeah, everything needs to be right. Otherwise, you're gonna give off like a little bit of a signal.
Yeah, no, I 1000% agree. Because I feel like with Chris's words and the way he uses them and the uses, like the correct usage of emojis, and I want to put extra letters here to emphasize this, he is able to relay what he wants, and it's like the virtual hugs are connecting, whereas in person it seemed a little bit more like I don't know what to do with my body, but I'm gonna use my mouth to tell you what I genuinely feel. So, and we're all people. We've all had those kind of interactions, either as the person or the person who we were talking to was like that. So when the messages are all seeming loving and caring, and you're not seeing the body associated, you don't have anything to know, like, oh, maybe he's just saying this to say this. It all just feels 100% genuine with Chris.
Yeah, and not for nothing for Chris as well is that like he just saw Mercedes as
a catfish,
the person he did not expect her to be. We also saw Antonio kind of being standoffish with Mercedes. So I think there's probably also, and maybe that's just not how he normally would, you know, react around somebody, but there's probably some sort of emotional component of like, even if you're totally accepting and understanding of the catfish situation where you're just like, I just like physically don't know who this person is, like physically, you know? So you're probably not like, if you see somebody, even if you know them, their personality, you see somebody physically that you don't expect, you're probably not going to run in and like hug them. Right?
No, I would. Yeah. And I think, again, we're talking about these people bonding on a one-on-one basis. Like, he was so high on Mercedes from the get-go, loved everything she was bringing, loved her energy, and you get used to seeing this picture and this is the person. So maybe the shock to the system was enough to ground him from the neck down to like, oh my God, I'm shocked. But his mouth is still like speaking to Mercedes. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's complex.
All right, so Shuby, Joey, and Adam get into a bit of a bro chat, and they talk about their moms, because, you know, Shuby's kind of jealous that they got videos from home, and he's happy for them. And so Adam talks about his mom a bit and how he loves his mom, and Joey's, I respect that. I respect him for loving his mother. And Adam says he can't help that Alex, but have Alex come out a little bit here in this conversation. He keeps slipping up. But this is like really good for him.
Yeah.
It's good that he's slipping up here because he's being somewhat genuine in this conversation.
Yeah. I think being vulnerable and saying, oh, I'm very close with my mom. I call my mom every day. And then pulling back, and he's all, I don't know, like, that was, I shouldn't have done that. It's like, why? Why can't Adam call his mom every day? Why can Alex do that, but Adam can't? Like, do you think that overly attractive people are just shut off emotionally and don't feel? Because then you're just closing yourself off to interaction and to appreciation and mutual respect.
It feels like he cares more about this idea of role playing than like the actual game, and it's a bad idea that he's role playing as well. But he, you know, because he slipped through, I feel like Joey felt that genuine like energy and was like, you know, I'm starting to like Adam all of a sudden. And he's like, look guys, all we need is a nice Italian girl in our lives and everything's gonna be great. I've got both of your backs. And this is the best conversation Adam has had in the entire game.
By far.
And he feels like it was a failure. He's like, I messed up so bad there. I just let Alex come out. I should have been better. I need to be better in the future. I'm like, no, that was the best you've done.
Yeah. It kind of, so I'm about to make a very, very niche reference here, Taran, but I think you will get it. You watch Community. So you know that episode where they play D&D with Fat Neil?
Yes.
And they make Fat Neil fat and he starts feeling all those insecurities seep into the game they're playing. I kind of feel that with him. I feel like once he starts being Alex and the Adam is like, oh my God, I can't do that because Alex is not good enough to be in this game and to kill it. It has to be Adam. Adam has to be this hunk. He has to be who he is. So he's not allowing those two to mesh, which is what he originally wanted. But I think the more and more he's played like this, he's a little bit terrified of letting that happen and letting Alex and Adam become one.
It's a good theory. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So we're getting down to the ratings now.
Yeah.
Adam says he wants Rebecca or Joey to be in power because they will stick their necks out for him. Not entirely sure either of them will, but we'll see. I have not watched the 4th episode yet. I've been doing episode by episode this time around, so I do not know what's going to happen because we are going to cut before we get to any results.
Same.
But
I got blue circles right now, man. I had to watch the episode 7 and then just sit. So I have no idea what's going to happen, but I figured it'll make for some good speculation here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been pretty decent at the speculation so far. This one, you know,
we'll see.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Sammy ranked. They say ratings, whatever. Yeah. Adam, number 6. Not a fan. That's all she's got to say.
That's it. That's all you need to know about that relationship.
And she rates Joey number 2. Said she's shared some things with him now. She feels like it's no longer flirting, that he's actually a friend. And this is kind of what I was getting at the start of this, where like I feel like they're just done with the fake flirting stuff. They want actual connection, and that's why I think Joey, starting with the flirting, has broken into actual relationships and friendships, and it's working for him.
Yeah, and I think through the competition she had placed with Miranda of who can get him to send a dirty emoji first, they put themselves in this position where they're gonna talk to Joey no matter what, and Joey just, keeping the conversation going and not just being a hound dog and still making jokes and they're still being funny really helped them out. And then we've talked about this this sharing with Joey that people tend to do because of his authenticity. It's really putting him on the map as someone who's reliable and someone who you can always count on to either be there to listen to you or make you laugh when you need it most in a place where you are isolated.
Yeah. We get from Rebecca that Adam is number 4. Says he can see through the facade, but Adam still thinks basically that Rebecca is his number 1, so not dead last. Shubi, number 2.
Yeah.
Feels comfortable with Shubi. Shubi in the past has been number 1. I'm curious to know who supplanted him.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that, and the only place I could go was maybe Sammy, but I couldn't figure it out because I have Shubi's 2. I don't see another relationship that's been blossoming or shown as much to make a number 1.
He may have just wanted to, because he seems to really want to break this barrier of third place.
Be first.
So maybe just dropping Shubi down a little bit. Maybe he dropped Sammy down a little bit, and boosted up somebody else, in the hopes that it would help him get into the influencer spot.
Yeah.
Not sure. Adam is going to put Rebecca in at number 2. They have a connection. Who's he putting in number 1?
Yeah. We go back to that again.
I guess Joey?
Yeah, it could be Joey.
He said Rebecca or Joey will stick their necks out for him. So I guess Joey must have taken that number 1 spot.
Yeah, and that could track if we look at all the other ones where that could have landed.
Yes, he put Shubi at number 6, hoping to drag him down.
Yeah.
And he put Sammy at number 4. Doesn't think she likes Adam very much.
I can't see why he would think that.
Shubi puts Rebecca at number 1. He says his sister. He hopes she gets the influencer. We've seen him put Joey at number 1 in the past. I imagine this is maybe not necessarily a change in how he feels about them, but just that, again, Rebecca has been close, and so maybe he feels like he can help her boost up into the influencer spot if possible. I also imagine, given his reaction, that he doesn't particularly want to be influencer himself, so if he helps boost Rebecca up into the influencer spot, maybe it kicks him down. He doesn't have to do it, but he still has Rebecca there to keep him safe.
Yeah.
Which would be a good strategy if it is what he's thinking.
Yeah, and also I think it's like, okay, well, last time I put Joey first, this time I'll put Rebecca first. Share the love. That could also be where he's coming from as well, potentially.
Puts Chris at number 4. Still thinks he's a little gray about who he's really aligned with. Still skeptical about Chris. He's still got it. Got Chris. He's watching him.
Yeah.
Joey puts Chris at number 3. Still feels good about him. This kind of surprised me because he kind of went at Chris in the hashtag game, calling him fake. And I was thinking that maybe Shubi had gotten into Joey's ear about Chris in some way. But seemingly, no. Seemingly he is still just really good with Chris, but I guess really did just genuinely want to stir the pot. I don't know.
Yeah, just a little shady, that Joey.
And then Miranda at number 4, which is kind of harsh for poor Miranda. He says he's talked with her more and there's more of a relationship. Miranda, meanwhile, it says Joey number 1. Of course, he's my main man. And Joey is just Miranda number 4 behind Chris. Oh, that's rough.
It's very, very rough. Yeah, the words didn't necessarily match the action because everything he says, if you just take it as, a sentence of, we've been establishing a better relationship, I feel really good, but 4th. So all that really means is that there are other people ahead, but also we could think about this because I think the most interesting thing with the US version versus the UK version is the rankings are a lot more difficult to decipher now because some people are putting people up and down just to mess with the average and try and change things up. So,
yeah. I've like maybe a mini theory here that I feel like there's maybe a significant amount of people in the game that think Miranda's a catfish, but we're just not being shown it.
Yeah, no, and I think it reigns true of when Miranda put that video out, and a lot of people were skeptical on the tattoos matching, and we've
Right.
all mentioned it on different podcasts of like the hairstyles. She has a lot of different looks going for her, so it's enough to feed into like this could be someone that we don't know.
And like she is like really thirsty
Yeah, it's true.
and really beautiful, so it's like
Why
it
would
kind
you?
of comes off as one of these like Adam Alex kind of situations.
That's very good. Yeah.
So I feel like they might be thinking that, and maybe that because she's so sweet and nice. I feel like there must just be some skepticism in regards to like, is she a catfish? Is she trying to get? Because I otherwise I don't know why Joey isn't like jumping on this like with full enthusiasm.
Yeah. No, putting her first.
He
You're
must
right.
be worried that maybe it's a catfish.
Yeah, and like I think Shuby was the one who was the most skeptical on Miranda for the longest time. So maybe he's successfully been able to strain that relationship enough. But I could totally buy into that because I hadn't thought about the fact that she does come off as very flirtatious, very thirsty, similar to the Adam Alex, which we've talked about at length at this point about how that relationship is kind of weird, and this tracks. All I'm trying to say here is that I think your theory has some legs.
And for those that did not watch the UK version, this does sometimes happen where like people will think that other people are catfish, but we just don't really see those theories on the show. And then when the show ends or after the show, whatever, they'll be like, that person wasn't a catfish, and we're like, I didn't realize you thought that person was a catfish. So it's very possible that these kinds of theories and discussions have been had and we just haven't seen them. All right, so Miranda also puts Sammy at number 3. Feels good about Sammy still. Chris puts Miranda at number 6. Does not feel like he knows her very well. Yeah, who knows? So ratings are done. We get a girls chat. And this is going to be very, very painful. Both physically and metaphorically, this girl's chat for Rebecca, because Sean talks about how she woke up with the worst cramps. Rebecca's, oh no, oh no, what do I do? What do I do?
The look of devastation in the man's face, realizing that he has to talk about this stuff, and you can tell he is not prepared. You can tell that this is a chapter that is missing from his notes about this persona that he's created,
and also grossed out. Like he's like, oh no, I didn't know women went into so much detail about Mother Nature. Are cramps that gross? I mean,
no, it's just like, and like, you have a girlfriend.
Right.
You surely are dealing with this. Like, you understand this. Like, it was very odd. The reaction was very odd.
So he's like, okay, they've all commented now, like, oh yeah, me too. I just got done dealing with whatever. So he's got to say something. And I actually felt like this was not a bad strategy here. This initial attempt here says, oh, try to. And I love the way he says it. Try to keep something nice and warm in your system. That really helps. And it worked. It's oh, that's so sweet. Saying, oh, that's so funny. For me, it's cold. And he's like, oh, but it works. It's fine. It's individual.
Yeah.
And then they talk about like the severity of it. Like Sammy's like, or was it Sammy or was it somebody said like, oh, it's not, it doesn't. I think it was Sammy. Like, oh,
Sammy, rarely.
It's not that bad for me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so lucky. And then he's like, all right, I guess I had some success the first time. Let me try another one. Yeah, really, really bad for me. Sometimes I cry. Okay.
2 for
Works. 2 for 2.
Mm-hmm.
Sympathy too. Oh, so I feel so bad for her. That's so bad. This is when you got to take your money and go home.
Leave the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just won 2 bets. Just 2 blind bets. And you don't get greedy.
Yeah.
But he got greedy. He got
All
greedy,
in.
and it was a bad bet too. Don't get so specific. What are you thinking, Rebecca? He says, yeah, it's just my left side just hurts really bad. It's just my left side. Why? Why so specific? Why did you do that? They were eating it all, hook, line, and sinker. You were good. You just needed to bounce out of there. It was like somebody who like over explains a lie. Like, oh yes, I was out of my house the other night. I went to the movies and saw the Star Wars movie, and in the movie I saw what happened with the lightsabers and the fighting, and then somebody did a fall at some point, and there were spaceship battles, and it's like, stop, you're too much.
You didn't need to do this. All I could think of was you're fine, just stop. Literally everyone else said one line. Oh, Miranda said, I had to deal with mine last week, girl. I feel you. And then Sammy said, yeah, today's my last day. I understand. And you did fine. You said your one line. Why are you going back? And I think this goes back to when you lie. And we've seen this happen before, to be fair to Seaburn. In the UK version, you know, there's instances sometimes where if you say something vague enough, someone's like, why aren't we getting more details? This is sketchy. So that could be a thing. But no one else was talking. You had just said a line. You didn't need to say a second line. You were fine. And to my complete bafflement, oh, wait, another thing. So when you do this and you feel a little bit like shaky and someone's like, oh, that's never happened to me. The move is you've made your bed, lie in the bed. You double down now. Yeah. You don't leave the chat.
Yeah.
Seaburn's like, okay, well, I got a bath to take, so I'm going to leave.
Too much. I gotta bail.
I gotta hop out. No. But also, no one questioned it, though.
It seemed like you got away with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I genuinely did not think that was going to happen.
I mean, this could again be a situation because, like, they were definitely skeptical of her at the start because of the Chris situation where he said, oh, you find Chris cute? He's gay, honey. And I feel like there have been other instances here and there where he's slipped up. And I wonder how much people are looking at that and how much they're commenting on it. Maybe we're not seeing, or maybe they're just keeping it in their head. They don't care. But I have to imagine that, or maybe this was made out to be something more than it was. Maybe, look, I don't know. Maybe sides. Maybe that does happen. Maybe it's just not a thing for Sean, and it wasn't that big of a deal. But still, just too risky.
Very risky. And I do think this is probably the first main instance of Seaburn and using Rebecca as his catfish role that I'm like, you picked another gender. Okay, you picked your girlfriend. You know a lot about your girlfriend. Good. That's what you want, someone who you understand and like you've interacted with. However, probably the first thing you should have done is be like, so what are the differences between me and Rebecca? And take those notes down. So this was a big mistake on his part. He got really lucky. I feel like a different crop of people, one or two more messages, and this could have ended horribly for her.
Yeah, you got to do your homework.
Yeah, if you're going to catfish.
All right, so we have the ratings results. They are in.
Yeah.
In last place, Miranda. That hurts. That's brutal, especially because Adam is there. That's rough.
Oh man, it's just I think Miranda probably hasn't done enough outside of the flirtation. You gotta, flirtation's like your first, like you're entering the room, you're like getting the vibe of the party, but then you gotta start talking to people. And I think she's not doing enough of that. I think it's a lot of just like niceties and on the surface conversation.
Yeah. Sixth place is Adam. So the two new players, unsurprisingly, at the bottom. Then tied for fourth place, Chris and Sammy. Sammy falling from, I believe she was in second place before, down to a tie for fourth place. I imagine part of that came from she was influencer, so people are like, don't want her to be influencer again. And then Adam did not have a great opinion of her as the newest raider, so that was probably not great. Although he was a substitution for Mercedes, who probably put her even lower. So it's probably more a function of the fact that she was an influencer before. Then top three: Rebecca, Joey, and Shuby. And for the third time, Rebecca's in third place.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride with
Which
Rebecca.
is perfect for him,
Amazing.
even though he really wants that top spot.
I think you won't go wrong because people feel bad for you because you didn't get the influencer again. But also, it's good to know that what you're doing is working. So just keep at it.
Well liked, but not threatening. And even better, it's his allies that are getting those top spots. So it's really not any potential for him to go home unless he gets backstabbed.
Yeah, it's the ultimate sweet spot.
Yeah. So top two, Shuby and Joey. Shuby was upset that he was not third. He was like, don't make me it again. But he was happy to not be first this time. At least he was second.
Yeah, he was second. And Joey rising from the middle of the table to now top.
Yeah. Joey, number one. He says, I've worked for it.
He has. He really has. Again, all the conversations help. Being open and honest helps. Being kind of unfiltered in a sea of people that are filtered helps, even though it shouldn't sometimes. It does. And to talk about Shuby for a second, Taran, if I may, I find it really interesting because with everyone else that's getting into the influencer spots, they get sabotaged or people will change their scores to bring the average down. We saw that the one person who did that was Adam. But Shuby is in this position where I think because he's so unassuming and because he's just nice, no one sees him as a gamer, really. No one sees him as someone who's manipulating and trying to get their way to the top. So he's the only one that I can see out of the crop of people that's benefiting from this because no one sees him as a player. Everyone just takes him as a friend and rates him high anyway. So that's why he keeps ending up in the top two here.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, it's a good place to be for now. But if I were him, I would be very worried about my chances of winning the whole thing. Being an influencer 3 times in a row, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to get the top spot, the top ranking spots in the final round if people are worried that if they give you first, other people are going to give you first, and therefore you're going to win the whole thing. So he's got to start tanking his ratings soon if he wants a chance.
And like, you're gonna start. The more you keep eliminating people, eventually you'll eliminate someone that someone else didn't want to see gone, and that could end up being sour for you in case the roles are reversed and they're in a position they might get rid of you. But it's a weird line to walk because how are you going to bring your ranking down without being in jeopardy of getting thrown out yourself?
Especially now that his target is so big. Exactly. He's a juicy target to take out once he's not an influencer. So, I mean, the other method, of course, is to make sure that the people with you, your allies that you do bring to the end, are willing to basically like fall on their sword for you and give you first place. Like, which I don't think is impossible with people like Joey. I feel like Rebecca's probably a bit savvier than that. But I think Rebecca / Seaburn genuinely do like Shuby and would want to see him do well. So you never know.
No, exactly. And I think it's very interesting with the circle where more often than not, people will say, oh, Shuby saved me 3 times, which isn't really the case because Shuby got rid of someone else and saved 6 other people then technically. But because they see it like this and they approach it this way, he looks like a knight in shining armor and might be rewarded for it if he does fall down the rankings. So you never know with the circle. And that's the best part about it.
Yeah. So right away, I was, trying to, write down my thoughts before I actually saw it happen. I was thinking, okay, it has to come down to Adam or Miranda, right? Same. Like they were at the bottom of the rankings. They're 2 new people. I was like, hopefully Adam. I like Miranda. I don't want Miranda to go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was like, hopefully it's Adam. Although he is giving a lot of like, he's better TV than Miranda. I'll give him that. But so I thought probably coming down to those 2, although there's a small chance it could be Chris. Yes. I thought if Shuby still has it out for Chris and he can convince Joey to do that. However, before they can get into negotiations, the circle has a twist for us. It's an alert. Mm-hmm. Joey and Shuby cannot discuss who to block. And instead, they must both individually save 2 players, leaving 1 player not saved, aka blocked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an
Joey is
interesting
like,
choice.
the one time it happens, it goes like this.
He was just enjoying his food. He found out influencers get food, and who doesn't love food? And now he can't talk to his best bro Shuby about what's gonna happen.
Yeah, he was so excited to wield power with his bro.
Yeah, bro down.
And now they have to publicly go down the list of their priorities and leave one person behind.
And that person will get blocked.
So, let's try and make the predictions here. We don't know who's going to go first, and that's going to matter a lot when it comes to who picks who, because I think they'll want to pick similar people at times. Right. But with Joey safe, I imagine that Shuby's first priority will be Rebecca.
I think so too. I thought Rebecca first off the board.
Yeah, Rebecca should be safe. Joey, with Shuby already there. Now, we know that Joey rated Chris at number 3. Shuby was probably 1 or 2. So that leaves, who is number 2? Is it Sammy or is it Rebecca? He doesn't seem to have much of a relationship with Rebecca.
I think it's Sammy.
I'm willing to bet that he's maybe one of the reasons why Rebecca is always getting third and not up in the top. So he's probably putting Rebecca down at like 5 or 6, considering Chris is 3, Miranda's 4. So I think it's probably Sammy. If that's the case, then I would expect Sammy to be the number 2 pick or number 1 pick potentially from Joey. Mm-hmm. And then that leaves us with one more pick from Shuby, one more pick from Joey. I think Shuby's number 2 pick is an interesting one. He's choosing from Chris, Adam, Miranda.
Yeah.
Will he save Chris to be like, hey, look, I'm helping you out. Like, don't come for me. Because if he doesn't pick Chris, if he picks a new player over Chris, if he is in this position, which it might be Joey, and in which case Joey, I think, would definitely pick Chris. The thing is, if Shuby doesn't pick Chris, then he's basically telling Chris he's not a high priority for him. He's basically second to last on his priority list because the other person leaves. Yeah. And that's dangerous if you're Shuby and you don't want Chris to know that. But you also you can't coordinate with Joey, and you probably know Joey will pick Chris. So if the order is Shuby, Joey, Shuby, Joey, then Shuby might be in a position where he's forced to pick Chris in order to not give away his hand that he kind of wants Chris to go. Right. If it's Joey that goes first, I think Joey will, with his second pick, if not his first, pick Chris to be safe. Yeah. I think Chris is good with this method because he can't communicate with Shuby, and that will in fact leave Adam and Miranda, where again I think that it could theoretically come down to who picks first.
Right. Yeah.
Because if the choice comes down to Joey, if say Shuby picks Chris, leaves the choice to Joey between Adam and Miranda, I feel like Joey is more likely to keep Miranda. Even though he likes Adam a little bit more than he did before, he had Miranda at number 4. Adam had to have been 5 or 6. So I imagine that's where he's standing there. But if Joey picks Chris and it comes down to Shuby's choice, then I feel like Shuby might actually choose Adam over Miranda, because he's been sketched out by Miranda and her flirtiness, and he did just have an okay conversation with Adam. He's been spared from a lot of the sort of like sketchy conversations of Adam, and if he's talked to Rebecca about Adam, then he might feel that Rebecca has Adam on lock. But he was also not like in love with how Rebecca was handling the Adam situation at first, but maybe he now knows that she's on to him playing the field, and now he feels more comfortable. Who knows? So it could go any way that way. And also, maybe Shuby doesn't look at it the same way I do if he picks before Joey, and instead of saving Chris to save face, he just flat out chooses to save one of Miranda or or Adam first. Again, making the choice and having Joey just essentially save Chris and then eliminate the remaining person. So I feel like, because I feel more confident in what Joey's going to do and less confident in what Shuby's going to do, I feel like the odds are that Adam goes more than Miranda goes, but I feel like it really could be either one of them.
Yeah, I think that, so if Shubi does go first, I could see Shubi being like, because I think back to the group chat that they had with Chris and Joey, and he was like, I don't want Chris here because he's gonna talk about all this with everybody, he's gonna leak it, but he can see that Joey and Chris are in good standing, and to talk back to him being skeptical on Miranda, knowing Miranda's a flirt, knowing that Miranda is actively impacting his relationship with Joey. If he wants to be selfish and be like, I need Joey all to myself no matter what, even though I think at this point he feels confident, he could pick to save Adam or Alex. No, Adam. I was
Adam,
right the
you're
first time.
right.
Pick Adam. And that way, leave Chris and Miranda and make Joey make the hard choice,
Yeah.
but knowing that Joey will pick Chris most likely because of the fact that they go back further. Obviously, you wouldn't want to piss off Joey in that situation, but I think he's in a position where he'll be fine. And
Man, can you imagine Joey having to pick between Chris and Miranda? Like, Miranda would be heartbroken.
yeah, and Joey would be amazing trying to determine all this on the screen. So I almost really want this to happen more than anything. That's why I'm thinking about it this way. But I think if Shuby gets last pick, he's going to get rid of Miranda. If Shuby gets first pick, he's going to try and make it so that Joey gets rid of Miranda. I think Shuby's pick to go is Miranda is how I'm leaning. Obviously, I have nothing to guarantee this with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Joey ultimately would probably want to get rid of his rival in that situation, which is Adam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's, I think that if they're thinking this through properly, then Joey got first place, Shuby got second place. That should allow Joey to go second.
First. No, second.
I think because second puts him in the most amount of driver's seat, right? Like, because he will ultimately decide between the last two people who goes
home.
Whereas if you're first, then you're giving that decision to the other person. So right. I guess but that might also depend on like what you want. If you're first place, do you want to have to be the person that drops the hammer? Ultimately, I feel like that's how it should be, because the higher you are, the more responsibility you have. That's
right.
I feel like that's how it should go, but they might think of it in terms of, well, he was first, so he'll go first, or they might not even think about it in those terms at all, and they might decide between it themselves, or because they can't talk. So
or he gets to pick. It's like heads or tails. You win. Which side do you want?
That's a better way, actually. Do you want to go first or second because you were in first place? That's the best way. All right, so
that's where we leave it.
That's where we leave it. Yeah. We're gonna find out. How it goes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
How are you feeling about, we didn't really talk about them because we just met them, but how do you feel about the longevity of Sean and Bill moving forward here?
I feel like Bill could squeeze in somewhere. It definitely depends on the outcome of this pick, because I think that if Shuby and Joey had the opportunity to take out Chris here, that would have been fantastic for the new players. But because of the format, I think any possibility of that is basically gone. Maybe it wasn't going to happen anyway. But now I think it's almost definitely Adam or Miranda, which means basically your first opportunity. I know that they took out Mercedes over Miranda, but basically your first opportunity at a new player, you're taking them out. I think this is when the original players might start to come together as a core group, and they might just start kicking out the new players, and that will not be good for those two. I think that Bill has some legs. I think that he's a likable guy, and he seems to have been making some connections, but Sean, I feel like not doing quite as well. She made some inroads with Chris, but that has not historically been a great spot to be in, because he doesn't have a ton of influence with the other players at this point. So I'm a bit skeptical about their longevity here.
Yeah, no, I see that. And I think my worry with Sean is that she loses herself in the persona she's created, in her friend that she's picked, and kind of goes the same direction as an Adam, where now you're just caught up on like trying to do the flirtation to gain your ranks, as opposed to making the friendships, which hopefully she realizes, hey, the reason I gravitated towards Chris was because I thought we could be friends easily and just banter. I should probably do that with the others. So we'll see. Bill, I think he's unassuming. I think he's going to be fun, easy to talk to. I could see that, taking him a little further, but also, if it ends up becoming old versus new, obviously he might be the best of the news, but that's not going to get him all the way to the end if the old people stick together. So.
Yeah. Well, all right.
All right.
That's it for today. I will be back with Rob and some other guests tomorrow night. That's Thursday night, to talk about the final episode in this batch, as well as just the discussion of all 4 as a whole. It should be a lot of fun. Last week was a lot of fun, so make sure you come and hang out with us. You can find me on Twitter at Armstrong Taran. Pooya, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at Pooyaism.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Yes, I had 1 or 2 little miscellaneous stuff. In certain angles, Alex kind of looks like Doug Benson. So I got that written down here. So that's a thing that I wrote down. And also, I really do enjoy the Michael Bay style noises and sound effects that we hear at the end of episodes before we get left on cliffhangers.
Yeah.
They're like exciting, but also I know what kind of noises they are and what they're trying to do for me, but I'm still falling for it every time. So, yeah, it's just been fun. Coming in, I had a little bit of skepticism on how this was going to play out with Netflix taking it over and with these coming out in batches. Ultimately, it hasn't mattered. It hasn't taken away from my enjoyment. I still love it, so I'm still taking it in. I'm still happy about all of it. I did not like Joey at the start of batch 1. I love Joey at the end of batch 2 here. So things change all the time. Things will change in the apartment that is the Circle apartment. But I'm just happy I got to talk about it at least once this season. And thank you for giving me that opportunity, Taran.
All right, of course. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We'll see you next time.